I think that the British government should give Andrew Tate a medal. Because the man is like Atlas the Titan. He is holding the entire British society on his shoulders. And I'm not exaggerating. Every bad policy, every bad cultural shift that the government makes would be required for the government to take accountability if it wasn't for Andrew Tate. Like every single time something goes bad, the government in Britain is so lucky that they have El Demonio Tate to blame, right? Children are disrespecting teachers in school. Obviously, it's because of Andrew Tate. But here's the question though, right? What would happen in a universe where you have no Andrew Tate and children are disrespecting the teachers regardless? What would the government do then? Well, seriously, right? Like, what would the British government do if for some reason there's no more Andrew Tate to blame? They would have to manufacture one, wouldn't they? Like, they would have to pay an actor or something, because surely they're not going to say, okay, maybe we have fucked the kids. Maybe we have done something bad with the new generation that they ended up disrespecting the teachers. Because I'm telling you this, when I grew up, I wouldn't even think about disrespecting a teacher. Like, I grew up in a strong nation with communist values that still remained after the fall of communism. And if you disrespected the teacher, like, she would get you in front of the class and she would have this paddle. And then when you went home and you complained that the teacher used the paddle, the parents would use the shoe as well, wondering, like, why did you misbehave in class? And nobody was misbehaving. Everybody was sitting, hands behind their back, looking at the blackboard, and they would learn. Now, is this a system that I believe should be continued? Here's the thing. Maybe it shouldn't be as brutal as Dead Poet Society. Maybe the system wasn't perfect. But I'm telling you this. Going from how I grew up to how it is like now, where I saw an 8-year-old black girl getting arrested because she bit the teacher, and because the teacher couldn't do anything about it, she called the cops. And apparently, like, that's what you do in a civilized nation, right? There's no more discipline. You just give the child a criminal record. And so, I think, like, this other new system may be a little bit bad as well. But let's talk a little bit about what's happening in the UK, because it's interesting, right? So they're complaining that students all of a sudden do not respect the teachers, but they do not bring up in the discussion what type of students. Because it's interesting, right? Like 20 years ago, students in the UK didn't behave this way. And despite the fact that the British government has poured billions upon billions of dollars into feminism, into activism, into NGOs, you had feminist politicians elected, and you're telling me that this is the result, then can we do an audit? Can we find out what happened? Like, which policies got young men to disrespect teachers? Huh? Oh, of course, we're not going to do that. We're just going to blame Andrew Tate. My God, if Andrew Tate is so influential, why don't you hire him? Like, seriously, you can literally pay the guy money. It's what happens, right? If you pay an influencer enough, he gets to say literally whatever the fuck you want. You can make Andrew Tate a feminist if you pay him enough, right? Like, there is a price on every single human being. I refuse to believe that there is an exception. And so you can pay Andrew Tate, make him a feminist, and then have him, like, say all the shit he does. And, watch him how he fixes the men. If you genuinely think he has this power. If you think, like, Andrew Tate is like the snake Ka from Mowgli, hypnotizing people through the screen. And not to mention, right? Didn't Britain just pass the safest internet on planet Earth, and kids aren't online anyway, right? Probably can't watch Andrew Tate even if they want to. So like, why is the concern with the internet nowadays? In reality, though, the real question is, like, how many of these people are new arrivals, right? Because Britain has gotten millions upon millions of new arrivals. People coming from a different culture. Is it possible that the people coming from different culture have different values? And they may look at the British teacher with less respect and admiration? I mean, let's think about it this way, right? So you had the whole two-tier Kier protest that I heard about from Romania. Not about the protest itself, but the crackdowns, right? Like, the crackdowns on the people that were shouting two-tier Kier were very brutal and swift. And if you look at the sentencing data after the Southport riots, it showed indeed very fast sentencing for writers, which critics compared unfavorably to slower handling of some other disorder. And so let's put ourselves into the mind of a little child immigrant, right? Let's say he is 17 years old, arrived in the UK on a boat, right? He is but a child, and he notices that the English society is very soft and is willing to defend people like him, new arrivals. They're very compassionate, right? Very, very feminine in nurturing people like him. But they also notice that the English culture is a little bit decadent, right? And it's a little bit weak. Like, if it tolerates other types of disorder when it is actually capable of enforcing the law, then yeah, that's probably the conclusion that I would drag. So this is the worst combination for generating respect. Now, add a female teacher who now embodies the authority of that society, and you have a plausible story for contempt that has nothing to do with Andrew Tate. And to claim that this literally doesn't happen at all means that you genuinely do not understand human nature. Like, you do not understand how young men think. You do not understand how important knowing how to impose respect on young men is and how to actually do it. If you genuinely think that creating a system where the nation state punishes their own citizen harsher than the new arrivals, and you have like examples in the papers that look bad, really bad optics, right? And on top of that, you have like all of this mentality of let's all join hands and sing together and create safe spaces and shit. Yeah, if you think that men won't respect that, I don't know what else to tell you. But here's another thing. What is the story that the British government is telling young men? How do they rival with Andrew Tate? Like, what exactly do they say that would make a young person be more attracted to the story that the government tells them through the school institutes, through the media, over what Andrew Tate tells them? Well, the story that the British government tells young men is that they are oppressors. They have the original sin because they were raised by the patriarchy, which was the magical cock and balls in the sky that were keeping women down. And because of that, their entire life now needs to be dedicated to penance and becoming doormat for women. And that is the story, you know? I mean, I guess. But these are not religious young men. Like, many of them are atheists. They're secular individuals. Even the religious ones, like, they do not believe in the mysticism and the original guilt and Adam and Eve and the apple. Because I see them on Twitter, you know? They're not talking about that at all. Even, like, the Christian British people, like, they're not talking about, oh, well, I feel so sinful today, so I need to go to church and talk about my confession. No, right? Like, the Christians on Discord are posting Crusader memes and, you know, they feel like the wrathful Jesus, like, coming up to instill order. That's the type of young Christians you have. Your story doesn't appeal to them either. And so, if you're basically, like, telling a person that you need to be born and, you know, everything you do needs to be for the betterment of the ladies, yeah, some people will reject that story. And they're going to listen to Andrew Tate, which is going to tell them you need to go to the gym, you need to have dignity, you need to respect yourself, because, like, if you don't, other people won't respect you. And then they're going to be introduced to the other ideas of Andrew Tate. Some of them may not be as good, you know? But if that's, like, the only place that teaches men that, no, you can actually have respect for yourself. You don't need to be a doormat. You actually need to impose yourself on the world, and you need to be a man. In fact, like, from what I gather, in the current British culture, if 5 men make a company, there is something wrong with that. Like, they will say, oh, so like 5 men just made a company and they invited no women, where's the diversity? Oh, so now there's a problem, right? Now they notice an issue. If 5 women do a company, oh, that's great, look, like, women are finally stepping up. And do you think, like, young men don't notice that? Of course they notice it, and they've noticed it for the last 2 decades. Now, why they behave poorly towards teachers, there may be another argument. Are you hiring competent teachers? Like, if you're hiring a teacher that's a doormat, yes, obviously, like, children are going to run over her. I remember when I was a kid, which apparently, like, a lot of people, for now, just don't remember when they were teenagers, but I remember when I was a teenager. Like, there were some teachers, male and female, that generally didn't know how to impose themselves. And so everyone was disrespecting them. it's not about like how well do they know what they're teaching, like how, you know, the math teacher, like how much she knew math, although that does play a part, right? Because like if you're a teacher and you're there to teach chemistry and the student notices you don't know chemistry, because there are such cases, then yeah, the children are going to walk all over you, because like why would they want to waste their time? Like they know you don't know chemistry and you can't teach them, so like obviously they're going to do something else. But it's also like in the body language, in the attitude, in the way that a teacher presents himself. Sometimes, yes, like you have weak men that do not know how to instill discipline in kids, and you have the kids walk all over them. Other times you can have a strong woman, like an Eastern European woman that went through communism, like holy shit. And the moment she enters the classroom, like everyone is silent. Because they know if they move, they fail the grade. And she remembers you, right? Like next time she brings you in front of the classroom, she's going to embarrass you. Like she knows exactly how to mock and ridicule you and just crush your ego so that you don't disrespect her again. There are those teachers as well, right? So like if Britain is basically not hiring teachers for competence and they're hiring teachers for any other reason, then you may have like very incompetent teachers that are just there to receive a paycheck so that they can munch off the government, and they're not going to do a good job teaching anything. You know, if you have teachers that are teaching students the LGBTs before the ABCs, yeah, like many students may see that they're going to school to waste their time. Again, there is this new retarded view that's being shared around culture of comparing teenagers to children. Right? So like the idea that a 5-year-old and a 17-year-old are pretty much one and the same, and there is no conversation to be had, is mentally retarded. I don't know why the Anglosphere decided to come up with this package, but we need to stop, okay? Teenagers are not morons. Like teenagers are young adults. They can sniff a teacher. They can know if the teacher is competent. They can know if the teacher is wasting their time. They start to understand politics. They start to understand things that advantage them and disadvantage them. And so you cannot constantly say that it's Andrew Tate. Like Andrew Tate is manipulating the entire population of men in the UK. Do you realize how mentally deranged that is? And this is like what? The Guardian. This is the level of journalism. Like, get the fuck out. It's very concerning. Anyway, right, I'll probably read this article on a live stream. I'll put the link to the live stream into the pinned comment section because I have another channel and we can talk a little bit more about it because I find it fascinating. So let me know what you guys think. And as usual, I will see you in the comment section. Take care.